Rabbitohs Radio Podcast, the number one source for everything South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Welcome to another edition of Rabbitohs Radio. My name is Gunn Chappell. I'm joined by former Rabbitoh Darren Brown and Big Les from Big Les Rugby League Podcast. What's doing, boys? Good to be back in the studio.
Yeah, g'day, boys. It's been a while for myself especially. You boys have been holding the fort while I've been away in Bali, holidaying over there. It was had a great time. The weather was good. The beers were cold. Celebrated my daughter's 18th birthday over there. Family and friends. It was outstanding.
Mate, I'm loving the tan. I'll tell you what, I either go white or red, so I'm a bit jealous over here.
Yeah, I've got the good skin there, Big Les, mate. Tan up pretty quickly. It washes off quicker than it goes on, but
He certainly does, doesn't he? Now we're going to break down the Knights' loss on the weekend, talk about the round 26 teams, get to some pathways, their last game of the season, the pathways, or the boys anyway. And I've got a little feel-good story about a Jersey flag player a little bit later on, boys. But first of all, let's get to Ronnie Coote, mate, being named immortal. First time we've really been together since all that happened. One of the real greats of our game, a real absolute gentleman. Johnny Raper regarded as the greatest lock. He was able to bump him out of the position and get that coveted Australian jersey in the 70s.
yeah, certainly, Chaps. The Prince of Lock Forwards, they used to call him. His nickname Solid, probably well overdue. His immortality, been named the 14th immortal only just last week. An outstanding player. I didn't get the opportunity to watch him play, only seen highlights on videos, but yeah, an outstanding player who represented his country and his state, played in 6 grand finals. I played in 9 and won 6, so an outstanding record, speaks for itself, and like I just said, probably well overdue.
Yeah, I think that as well, people were talking about Cam Smith, Thurston, Cronk, Billy Slater, these sort of guys. I think you've got to let their careers settle a bit too. Ron Coote's been waiting for this award for a while, for a long while, and he's, as you said, well overdue. I think it's a great decision by the NRL that they're sort of now going in chronological order. You'd think that, Brad Fittler, Darren Lockyer, these sort of guys over the next few years, they're the next ones to get in there. I think Cam Smith, Thurston, these guys that have only recently just retired about 4 or 5 years ago, you'd probably have to wait a little bit before you induct those guys. I'm keen to hear what you guys think.
Well, Chaps, we spoke about it the other day. Do they set a precedence now and go back even further than Ron Coote? Because there's so many great players that have played this wonderful game that need to be immortalised, and they haven't done so.
Well, South Sydney, we've won 21 premierships. We've got 2 immortals and only got one last week, the second one last week. That's nearly impossible, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think we played in we either won the competition or runner up 19 times in 25 years, and one player is an immortal out of that team. Now, I think you've got to go back and trust all the historians of our game, and there's plenty of them out there from many different clubs. There's still journalists, articles. You can go to the State Library if you like and read up any article from any newspaper clipping, and you will find a lot more. And I'm not just talking about South City. There might be some from other clubs as well.
Well, the Dragons won 11 premierships in a row.
Well, they might have a few
team?
more. That's right. They've got 3 in there at the moment. But look, from that 20s team, South, you could have Benny Waring. I think he won 6 premierships. You guys, George Trewick, probably regarded at the time as the greatest player in the history of the game at that time. You got guys like, they've gone back to Dave Brown and people like that, and Dally Messenger from that era. I'm sure there was a few other ones from there in the 50s as well. I think South were in 7 grand finals and won 5 of them through the 50s. Only Clive Churchill made it. Go back and have a look at Chickakawi, Les Chickakawi's career. He was a great lock before the Rapers. And anyway, I think the process is slowly getting itself organised, but I think they could do better on that night too. I reckon someone like Mal Meninga should be putting the jacket on, the coveted jacket on him instead of the Prime Minister. Nothing against you, Albo. I'm a big fan of Albo, but didn't like that touch. And Ray Hadley, he had nothing to do with it. I don't know why he got up and spoke about himself. Big noted himself on the night when it was about Ron Coote. I thought it was a terrible performance by Fox Sports. Terrible.
Yeah, well,
Mate, I've been watching the Yanks for years and years. The way they do it, it's just embarrassing how poor our media coverage is at rugby league compared to the Yanks when it comes to Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well, they do it so well over there,
was
don't they?
disgraceful from Fox the other night. I was just bitterly disappointed. I really was.
Yeah, but just going back to you, Ron, mate, congratulations. A local South Sydney junior who grew up in the Kingsford area, played for the Kensington United Club. Congratulations and well done. And like you said, Chaps, just before, not only on the field, he's done a lot off the field. He was the founder of Men of League, the family of League. It's named today. So congratulations, mate, and well done.
Am I right in saying that he owned Kingsford Macca's for a bit?
Yeah, he's owned a number of different McDonald's stores. I don't know whether Kingsford was one of them.
I think Maroubra was.
Maroubra maybe.
And a few down the south coast.
Newtown was one. And I tell you what he did own, and it was the first 24-hour McDonald's, which was up the King's Cross. And I used to venture there after many a night out, let me tell you.
I think I had a cheeseburger and threw the pickles at someone up there at some stage, mate. Yeah.
Many times Ron was in there, let me tell you. So, yeah, well done.
Look, he's a gentleman. I mean, we've been lucky enough to interview him. Brownie would have had him in the dressing room. He's been a former player, and he's just all class, Ron Coote. Yep. No one deserved it more.
Going back to the South Sydney theme a little bit, who's the next South Sydney player to be inducted into the immortal status, you reckon?
Well, Chaps just named a few of them just then, but all depends how far you want to go back, Big Les. But, from my point of view, I haven't seen none of them play. From my point of view, I'd probably, look, there's a number of them, isn't there? Bob McCarthy's probably another one that you can consider from that era. Les Johns, there's a number of them, mate. But, yeah.
What about you, Chaps?
Yeah, for me, George Trewick next, and then probably Les Chickakawi from the 50s. I think they've got to go back there and do their due diligence on those players. And, yeah, like blokes like Cameron Smith, I reckon 20, 30 years they got to wait. No one should get it until they're 50 or 60. Joey Johns that was terrible. They brought him in so early.
That's what I meant
to say. That ruined everything. Joey shouldn't be an immortal now.
I meant to say Les Chickakawi instead of Les Johns.
Shouldn't be eligible for 20 years, I reckon.
Yeah.
Do it properly.
Yeah.
Yep, fair enough. And look, I don't know if they will go that far back, to be honest, just because of the fans. Obviously, a lot of fans watching the game now have only seen back a certain amount. You're getting a lot of guys, and I guess it is unfair because obviously they should have been named earlier, but it's the fans at the end of the day that the NRL's trying to please, and I think they do keep it very close to this generation. I think they go back, but I think they go back more so to guys like Lockie, Freddie, those guys that haven't been.
They'll get their go, but what about Sterling and Kenny? Like guys like that, they haven't been considered. I think there's some guys they got to go back and have a look at. Even some of those good sides in the 70s. The Roosters had a couple of good sides, back-to-back premiers in the 70s. Had a couple of good players in there, players.
I've got a perler for you. Who do you think's more likely to get named as an immortal first, GI or Sam Burgess?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'd probably say GI from
GI.
His point of view that he's did it at two different clubs.
Yeah.
One premierships at Melbourne and then obviously the Rabbitohs. And but yeah, I love Sam and I love everything that he did on the field. He played the game tough. He's a great ambassador, for the game now. He's coaching over there at Warrington, so he's still putting back into the game. I know that doesn't mean much in terms of the immortal side of things, but yeah, I think GI will probably get the nod before Sam.
Yeah, I think GI is one of the most unique athletes we've ever seen in the game in 100+ years. What he was able to do at all different body shapes. I think he came in at under 100 kilos. By the time he finished, he was well into the 100 kilos, and he was more of a power athlete. And the way he used to just get it from inside his own 20 and just run around people. The performance in that grand final, was it 2006, where he was 5'8"? He won the Clive Churchill medal. Go back and watch that game. That was unbelievable. Let alone what he did for the mighty South Sydney Rabbitohs. But yeah.
Yeah, look, I agree. I think it's GI, but you cannot underestimate Sammy Burgess and the toughness, throughout his career, and the number of guys that he's probably inspired as well. You're watching as a young kid, Sammy Burgess. A lot of forwards would have definitely been inspired by a guy like him.
100%, no doubt about it. We'll get on to that game, boys. What do you reckon? 36-16. I was lucky enough to go out and be the MC of the most exclusive members in the club, the Club 1908 members up in Russell Crowe's box. It was actually Rusty's box. He kindly gave it up to the great members. There was about 30 of them there. They had a presentation. I just had a couple of words there. Interviewed Jai Arrow and Michael Cheekham. Jai's a funny bloke. He'd tell us a couple of funny stories up there. And they got some jerseys handed out to them, signed by the whole team and their name on the back and stuff like that. And they put a bit of food and drinks on throughout the reserve grade and the first grade game. And, yeah, it was good.
It's great that they gave the opportunities because they do spend a lot of money, their members, on their membership. And to give something back to them is outstanding. And I know they do a few things throughout the year, and that's not the only thing that they did the other night. They get them in the dressing room. They get to form guard of honours at certain different games. So, yeah, well done to the Rabbitohs, and well done to you, chaps. It's a great honour to do that.
Yeah, it was good. I was stoked they asked me. But also I did another one pre-game downstairs, and there was a big crowd down there. There was hundreds and hundreds of people in there, and we got a junior Totola up there, and he said he's still on a moon boot and on crutches, but I think he said he'll be ready for round 1, but he won't be ready for November 1. He'll be close, but yeah, hopefully you can get him up and running by Christmas. It's been a big loss, junior Totola, hasn't it?
Well, I've said it many times. Not only junior, but we've had a huge injury toll over the last 12 to 18 months, haven't we?
And now Cam Murray
club.
looks like he's going to get suspended too, depending on the result tonight when we're recording this podcast as well.
Yeah, Tuesday evening we're recording this one. Look, 36 points to 16. I think we led 12-6 in the 30-minute mark. I thought we were on top there. I think Kepi dropped it under the post, and it was one-way traffic for a little while there. They scored a couple tries before the bell.
I almost think that if they gave KP more ball in the first half, it would have been a much larger scoreline for them, to be honest. Every time we got the ball, they looked like they were in complete control. What about yourself, Brownie?
Yeah, look, I didn't. I'll be honest, I didn't really get to see a lot of the game. I was still in Bali at the time, but I did get to see a lot of the highlights. And from what I've seen, our defence is probably pretty ordinary at the moment. It's not up to NRL standard. There's no connection out there on the edges. We've got players rushing in and taking no one. Some players moving up, some players hanging back. It just doesn't look good. And to win NRL games, your defence has got to be in order. And that's just one thing I think is not in order is our defence.
Yeah, but you also we haven't been in the studio for a while, but a big thing that you like to say is completions, Brownie. And I think that our completions hasn't been good over the past few weeks. I don't know about you, chaps. I think it's a big part of our success. And Cody Walker obviously drives a lot of that too. I feel like having him out hurt us a little bit, even though we spoke about it in the preview. Having a genuine halfback in there was going to be a little bit different. I just feel like we confused ourselves a little bit too much in our attack, and it hurt our completions a lot.
Look, Dino, he's not known for his defence. He struggles a little bit defensively because he's only a little fella, but I thought his kicking game was pretty good, but he just didn't get enough kicks. I don't think he had a dominant voice out there. He had a couple of nice repeat sets, but he wasn't the reason we were beaten, mate. Is what Brownie said.
Well, when you're not
just bringing in different combinations, like I think we had that same backline for a long time, and now we're putting a different young fella in the centres. Ty Munro coming in. Them blokes haven't played more than 5 or 6 games between them, so you can't expect them to come in and set the world on fire.
Yeah.
Coming against a superstar like Dane Gagai, he was unbelievable. Callum Ponga. They just carved us up out there. But look, there was some bright patches there. I thought we had some ruck speed in the first half at some stages, but we just weren't able to keep our foot on the throat.
Yeah, look, Ty Munro, first game back, I thought he was okay. His carries were good. He had some really strong carries, made plenty of meters with his when the ball in hand. But yeah, just came up with a couple of defensive errors, which led to tries, and you just can't do that at this level.
I'll tell you what, that almost try where Hawkins had kicked it to the sideline for him to catch up there, that was unbelievable. That combination,
great athleticism, wasn't it?
Yeah, if they get a few more weeks together at the back end of the year, I think Tyrone Munro has been named in first grade this week. But I would have loved to have just seen them get a few more times to combine throughout the back end of the year, whether that be in cup or starting, just to see how that combination goes, because they had a few opportunities on that right, just failed to execute.
Yeah, he was good. I mean, he had a couple of half breaks, just out of dummy half and stuff like that. I think one guy grabbed him by the jersey there. He could have been away. Look, it's just all time in the park for Ty. What he played 19 minutes or something leading into that game. He had a Reggie's game where he played pretty well. Look, New South Wales Cup, the first grade, big level difference. So, look, he'll play the next couple of games and, get in the off-season and try and get bigger and stronger because he got dragged over the sideline on one carry.
Yeah.
He would have been disappointed with that one.
I would like to see him get a bit more size in his upper frame. I think he does need a bit of size. He's quite, big and lanky. I think that if he just had, at least another 10 kilos on him, he'd just be an absolute handful.
Well, he's grown that much in the last 18 months, so he would probably got to give him a little bit of time. And I
Yeah.
think a really good off-season again next year. It'll be his second pre-season in the top 30. And, I'm sure you'll see his frame develop a little bit more over the next 12 to 18 months.
Yeah, he's a hard worker and he's tough. He's going to be good, don't worry. He'll be playing hundreds of games for South Sydney in the future, but he's going to take time to learn. Look, also, a bit of a talking point there, the kickoffs. Fletcher Myers found the sideline, 2 of them. Look, he's been good since he's come into the grade, but he'd like those 2 moments back-to-back kickoffs that were kicked out in the full. He's not the first bloke to kick him out in the full, but when he finally got one in, geez, there was a Bronx cheer at the stadium. They got one of the biggest cheers of the night. So.
Yeah. Well, look, you just said he mightn't be the first one, and he certainly won't be, Chaps, but to do 2 in a row, you got to sort of learn by your mistakes, and to do it twice back-to-back was probably not, once again, not up to NRL standards. You just can't afford to do that, especially the way the game is played today. Give teams easy yards up the field, restarting it on the 50-metre line or 40-metre line after they kick it out. It's just not on, and you just can't do that. And that's just where we are at the moment as a club. Things just aren't going our way. We just got to ride these next 2 games out.
Yeah.
Penrith and the Roosters, they're not going to be easy, let me tell you. But a bit of luck, they might rest some players
I
against
think
us.
the key word we're looking for there is discipline for me. I think that's been the thing that's troubled us the most over the past few weeks is just that discipline and keeping the ball in hand, not making too many mistakes, completions. The discipline for me has just been a little bit off over the past few weeks.
Oh, definitely.
I think I'm not expecting us to win or to win well over the next 2 weeks, but what I am expecting is that we do start to fix up the discipline a little bit. I want a goal of at least 80 to 85% completions for the next 2 weeks.
Well, you've got to be, especially against these sides coming up, Penrith and the Roosters. If you're not completing at that level, you're just going to get blown off the park, and it'll be a cricket score if you don't.
You got to do the little things right
100%.
against the big sides, and we're just not doing the little things right.
Yeah.
Especially one-on-one defense. You got to if you get a chance to put a shot on someone, you got to bring them to the ground. Don't just drop off.
I had a look at the stats. 50 missed tackles. It's just not on, is it? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, the Bulldogs missed just as many, but they're an aggressive team and they cover well. And it's a next man up mentality with them. If someone misses it, they swarm the next tackle. But we're not doing that.
I mean. That's what I mean as well. Like we were talking about it like 3 weeks ago when we were in the studio last. The scramble defense, it's sort of fallen off a cliff, really.
Yeah.
Our scramble D.
Yeah, the boys lost a bit of confidence, I think, but hopefully they can regain it over the next couple of weeks. What about the performance of Cam Murray? He's obviously copped a sim in there, coming in to try and help his teammates. Another 50-odd tackles, 170-odd run metres. Geez, we're lucky to have this bloke.
We say it every week, don't we, Chaps? Week in, week out. Plays with his heart on his sleeve, gives 110% every single week, and does his best to try and get us a win every week. But, just frustrating for Cam and a lot of the other experienced players as well. We're going to mention him in a minute, Jack White. And he came to the club to win games, and we've had a terrible season, But Cam Murray, what a player.
Yeah,
outstanding.
Definitely stands up, and particularly, he's been out with injury a few times this year as well. He's had a real tough season. I just think that this is just going to be the poor icing on the poor cake if he gets suspended here for the last 2 games and we don't get to see him. And especially for South Sydney, like all the guys that we've had out, and now we're looking at him potentially being out for the next 2 weeks as well. That is. It's tough. He's such an effort first guy, and you can just see, he's not a very vocal leader, but what he does, he leads with his actions, and we see it every single week.
Well, who's going to make? He made 56 tackles in 70 minutes, only 2 misses. Who's coming up with that? Someone's going to have to come in and roll the sleeves up and do that job.
You got to throw Keon back in the
let's
middle.
hope he gets a downgrade because we're going to need Captain Cam over the next couple of weeks, and Jack White. And look, I put a clip up today about the press conference from the other day where one of the journalists asked Coach Ben Hornby about Has he been one of your best this year? And he agreed. He goes, I think he's been one of our most consistent players. He just doesn't stop. All he does is just pure effort. His try was a pure effort try, wasn't it? Just crawl along the ground and slammed out. Yeah, look, a bloke who touches the ball as many times as he does and have as much effort, whether we've got the ball or not, you're going to make a few mistakes. And he had a couple little errors there. He got to kick one out in the full and all that sort of stuff. But I don't think he come to the club to be a playmaker. I think he was going to be a ball runner in the centres or in the back row or something like that. So thank you very much, Jackie White. And I know there's going to be some better times ahead for you next year, mate. And the other thing about Jack, he doesn't seem to be injured because he's fit. He's rock hard fit. He's a great example for the rest of our players. He missed a game? I don't think he's missed a game since he came in from suspension in round 3. Because he's just if you see him, he's a rig and a half when he's down the beach. He was down the beach this afternoon, and he's a weapon.
He just tries his guts out, boys, doesn't he? He's just an effort player, effort on effort, and that's what this game is all about. If we had 13 Jack Whitens on the field at once, well, we probably wouldn't be in this position that we're in at the moment. But well done to Jack, and next year is going to be your year.
Yeah, 100%. Do you think he goes back into the centres round 1 next year? Or?
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah, with the signings that we've got coming, especially around them halves, I think they can get a partnership going with Cody of some sort, the young Pommy halfback. We've got Humphreys coming as well. So one of them, can either play 6 or 7 and shift Jack back out into the centres where he's preferred, I'd say.
What about rumours of Schuster signing? The really talented young fella. Obviously, his father was an NRL star back in the day. Coming in, he's as exciting as a prospect that we've seen coming into the game. But obviously, struggled work ethic-wise, couldn't keep himself on the park fitness-wise. If you could get Schuster's body looking like Jack White, and you'd have a player, wouldn't you?
Oh, he's outstanding, isn't he? He's got so much skill and so much class about him, but I just don't think he's a regular 5'8". I think he'd fit nicely in a back row, a ball-playing back rower. But he can play a number of different positions, can't he, Chaps? He's very versatile, and if you were struggling for a 5'8", you could definitely throw him there, and he'd succeed there. But like you said, I think he's got to get fit. He's got to get rock hard. He's got to be out there doing hills. He's got to be doing strength work, core work. And if he can get to that level, well, he'll be a very, very good asset for us.
Well, as you said, like the one concern with him has been fitness. And I think that if there's one guy that's going to get the best out of him, it's Wayne Bennett. I mean, you look what Wayne's done with Tavita Pangai Jr. towards the back end of this season and how good he's been going for the Dolphins. I think he can do the same or similar to Josh Schuster. We were very close to missing out on Schuster as well. I'm pretty sure that it's going to be announced over the next few weeks, but the Dogs were going right after him as well. So we were very close on missing out on him. So if we do end up signing him and it does get announced over the next few days, that's unreal. And I think that it's great to have that versatility in your squad. I almost think, and I was talking with the chaps in the car about this on the way over here, I think he starts right back row. I think that Keelan moves into the front row with Jairo. And then you have Tavita Totola, Mawale, probably Tallis Duncan coming off the bench. And it sort of rounds out our forward pack really nicely. And it's probably one of the better packs in the NRL.
By signing him, it really strengthens our middles a little bit, like you just said, Les, shifting a couple of players around, and they mightn't be happy about it. But, yeah, we really do need some strong middles. We've got them there at the moment, but we just can't afford to play them there because we've got so many injuries on the edges, you know what I mean? But exactly what you said, Keon to the middle, Schuster on the edge. You've got Tallis Duncan there as well, who's had an outstanding year, I believe, in his development. Ewan Aiken's another one. Cam Murray. So we've got a lot of edges there. Jai Arrow can play edge.
Look, the depth sounds crazy next year if you can get them all fit and ready, fighting for round 1 and be the opposite of what we had this year. We just had a ridiculous amount of injuries. I think it was over 11 and a half people unavailable of our top 30 the entire season on average every week, which is ridiculous. I think there's a middle forward to be announced over the next few weeks too, which will bolster this pack. The depth is looking good, mate. I'll tell you now.
You get the good mail.
Another bloke who I reckon has taken a couple of leaps this year. He's just been able to get on the park every week and get a bit of confidence. Dave Muwali got our Ramos Bricklaying Brick by Brick Award. I thought his carries were really strong. 140 odd metres from 15 carries, 24 tackles, 1 misses. That's something that Davey's come along with defence and working from marker and getting off the ground, which Early in his career, he probably struggled a little bit with the pace of it because all the levels he jumped from. I think he went from SG ball to flag to
Yeah.
the cup to first grade really quick, like a really not many guys do at that age. And he's just starting to catch up to the speed of the game and be one of the real dominant guys. And 50-odd minutes he got out too. So well done, David Mwali.
We've said it all year. He needs more minutes. And you were speaking with his old man at training, and that's what his old man was saying all the time to you. He needs more minutes. And we've seen that in all of the games he's played around that 50-minute mark. We've seen the same with Keon this year as well. They tend to do very, very well. They sort of tend to get used to the speed of the game, and off the back of that, they play very good footy. And I thought we saw that from David Mwali this week and in weeks prior where he's played similar minutes.
Yeah, I think he's really grown as a middle forward, hasn't he, over the last couple of seasons? Like you boys just indicated, he didn't get many minutes last year. He was very spared his minutes in terms of his game time when he played, and then he'd get dropped back to New South Wales Cup. But this year he's had some really good long spells,
Yep.
and we've really seen the best of him. And I can't really comment on too much on the weekend's game because I didn't see a great deal of it. But in saying that, I know what he's done throughout the year, and I could imagine what the type of game he's played if he's got our brick by brick award. So, yeah, well done to Davey. And look, front rowers, they don't normally mature till they're, the mid-20s, late 20s, and he's still only a young kid. And, he's going to be a player to watch next year
How old is
under Wayne Bennett.
Davey? Is Davey like 21?
Yep.
21.
Wow.
Yeah.
Far out. So much longer to go.
I can remember his debut. I think it was against Melbourne down there, and he was only 18 then. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
He's only a pup. So he's come a long way in a short period of time, and he's only going to keep taking more and more steps. Look, we spoke about Ponga. He's a special player, and Dane Gagai, they were the absolute standouts. But is it Dylan Lucas, the centre?
Yeah.
He had a fair try, didn't he? He knocked off 4 or 5 of our blokes on a run to the line, and I was pretty far away. I thought it was Colin Best.
Yeah.
Not Colin Best, what's his name? Bradman Best.
Yeah.
That's how good he's going. So young Lucas is one to look out for there.
It's almost an exact clone of what we saw with Brodie Jones when Brodie Jones had to go into the centres for the Knights last year. He's been outstanding every time he's gone in there, and he's playing back row this week, so going back to a bit of familiar territory, but he's an animal, isn't he?
Yeah.
Dylan Lucas.
Oh.
Yeah, well, them players that you just mentioned, we really couldn't handle them, could we? Like you said earlier, if Kalen Ponga touched the ball a couple more times in that first half, the score could have been so much different. But, yeah, we had no answers for them, really, both Gagai, Lucas, and Kalen Ponga, who's an absolute superstar. I love watching him play, the way he plays. He's well balanced when he runs. He's very good with the ball. And, they're a little sneaky chance to make the 8 tonight if they can win both games.
Yeah.
Well, they look pretty impressive live out there the other day. Now, Teamless Tuesday, teams have dropped. Not a lot of surprises there. Cody Walker comes back in, jumping number 7. Dino jumps back to the Reggies. And the other one was Siliva Havili comes in for the injured. Shaq Mitchell is out for the season with the calf injury.
Yeah.
Another calf injury. It's pretty amazing how many calf injuries we've had. One of the ladies from the 1908, apologies, I can't remember your name now. I think she might have come from Port Macquarie. And she was talking to Joe Arrow, and she was saying that she heard something on a podcast was saying it could possibly be the make of boots that people have these days. And I know you got to wear them because you're sponsored and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
Joe Arrow sort of bought into that theory. He said he believes in them. They're a lot lighter than what they used to be, or something like that. They're
Yeah.
Okay.
so there's might be something to that. That's some of the lower league injuries we've had. Incredible. And another one goes down, and
We've had heaps, haven't we? Especially calf injuries. A lot of calf injuries over the last 12 months. Cody, Latrell's had one. Shaq's had a couple. Liver.
Yep.
So yeah, a lot of calf injuries. But yeah, it could be a great could be the right answer to it. The boots that they're wearing, like you said, a lot of them these days are blades. They don't wear the screw-in studs anymore. We used to wear the screw-in studs, and we'd take the studs out compared to what the pitch was. If it was a heavy pitch, we'd put longer studs in.
Yeah.
Good pitch, shorter studs.
Well, we were talking about it on BTFU and back when I was with those boys a few weeks ago, me and Rennie Matua, we were sort of talking about what could be causing a lot of these injuries. And back then it was pissing down raining every single day. And we said it was the weather. We sort of talked about the boots a little bit, but we blamed it on the weather. And obviously weather's cleared up now and it's still happening. So, look, I mean, this boots theory is probably not far off, to be honest.
Yeah.
who knows what it could have been. But yeah, Siliva Havili, just to mention to him, in the cup game the other day. He was a standout for South Sydney. We got off to a slow start. I can't remember the score. We'll get to that in the pathways. But yeah, Siliva Havili, couple offloads. I think he scored a try, set a few up. So he's been rewarded there with a 17 jersey.
Chaps, you just mentioned Liver's been rewarded with a spot in the 17. What about Liam LeBlanc? How come? Well, what are your thoughts on Liam? Don't you think he should be rewarded? I don't think he's done anything wrong in the games and the minutes that he has played, and he just can't get a look in.
Well, I haven't seen a lot of the games in the last few weeks, the whole games. I've been watching a lot of the highlights. I saw last week's game. He played pretty well. But I believe the game up at Campbelltown, he was outstanding. Each week he's had 150-plus metres playing lock or coming off the bench playing a middle forward role. He's signed for next year. He's a young fella. He's a player of the future. He's come a long way this year, considering the year he had at the start where he had some heart complications. I'm surprised that he's not getting a run. Look, if Cam Murray's suspended, I believe he'll be coming into the side. He's the automatic selection if Cam's out.
Yeah.
And they do a little reshuffle. You can put a number of blokes in there at lock and shuffle the deck chairs a little bit, but he'll be coming in. But yeah, I'm surprised that they're not using him. But I think it's off the back of Liver did have a big game the other day.
And I think as well, I think that Hornby's looking through the lens of versatility, particularly when we've just had a mountain of injuries and obviously Kamari now being suspended as well. What happened to Shaq on the weekend? I think that he just wants someone that can cover a lot of positions. So if someone does go down, he can just hop straight in, whether it be back row, front row, lock. He can probably play, he'll probably sit somewhere where someone can be pushed out to the centres or something like that. He's quite versatile in that sense. So I think that it's literally through the lens of versatility.
Versatility, yeah. Well, Liam LeBlanc, keep your head up, mate, because the minutes that I've seen you play, you're outstanding, and I believe you should be in the 17. But that's only my opinion.
Yeah, he hits hard, mate. It's like a Mack truck. Shout out to his family out there. He's an old man, Benny LeBlanc, great bloke. Looking on the other side of the fence, the Penrith Panthers named a pretty strong lineup, minus Nathan Cleary and a few heads. But look, they had their pants pulled down last week with an intercept by the Raiders, so they were in the game right up to the death. Were sort of in control, but let it slip a little bit. They'll be smarting, to say the least. I'm heading out there as a guest to Roy Simmons, actually. Boys, heading out there to the Roy Simmons Lounge, and I think I'm going to take my big cousin Scotty.
Oh, I wish I could join you, chaps. I'm on the dreaded night shift, but yeah, it's a great night out there at Penrith. I'm sure you enjoy yourself. Royce is a champion fella. Just did that long walk, raising money for his charity. So congratulations to Royce. Yeah, but you'll have plenty of beers out there, chaps. He's a good fella.
We might have a couple. We'll see. Now Brownie's on the honours board out there. They've got the big honours board for captains. He took over from Craig Guerra, I believe, on you. Did you, Brownie?
Craig, no, it was me and Gerds that were captain that particular year, club captains. But yeah, Johnny Cartwright had just retired. And yeah, Craig, he was a young fella coming through, but there's plenty of great names on that board.
I'll have to get a photo in front
Great
of
honour.
the big honours board out the front there. So I'll be keeping an eye out for that one. But yeah, it should be a tough night out for the Bunnies. But look, I'm sure they'll be out there having a crack.
Just a bit of lack of direction from Penrith over the past week against Canberra, I noticed, particularly that Cleary, you'd sort of expect it. But when Luai's had the reins, he's handled himself very well and he's had that direction. I just feel like he's sort of gone back into that 5-8 mode. And then, Nathan Cleary's obviously unexpectedly been out. And there was just not much direction. Whereas Fogarty on the other side of the park was leading that side very well. They were meticulous in how they came into that game and everything that they did. And not making too many errors, keeping the penalty count low. It was a good game of footy. Penrith were definitely in it. But I think that if we can force them to play that sort of footy where they don't have a plan for, the back end of sets and we can sort of defend well, I think we can keep it a lot closer to a blowout.
Yeah, look, credit. I want to give the Raiders credit here because they were outstanding down there in Canberra against Penrith last week. And that's how you beat the top sides. You beat them at their own game. And they were, there's a saying in rugby league, you attack in defence, and that's what they did. They were getting off their line. They were swarming them. They were giving them no time to make decisions. They were outstanding. And that's why they came up with that intercept, because they were in their face. Credit to Canberra where it's due, and yeah, well done to them. And if we're going to go up to Penrith and beat them, that's how we've got to play them. We've got to beat them at their own game. Complete high. They don't make very many errors, and you've got to be in their face in defence. So, and compete on every play. Like you said, Les, you just want to see them competing, and That's what you've got to do against these good sides.
Yep.
You've got to be in the game.
Well, look, those wing and centre combinations, it's going to be their first second outing together, so they're going to hopefully work on that during the week, and hopefully they've got a bit more defensive resolve out there and a little bit more connectivity, so to speak. And I'd love to see young Tai Tai get in the clear. I think we all want to see him in the clear and see what he can do out there. I'm sure he's going to put the glasses down on a couple of tries, and hopefully he can score a double out there.
Well, there's a big talk going around the mainstream media about this 100-metre dash. Would Tai Tai be in the running for a spot in the field of 8?
I reckon he's our quickest bloke, over 100, I reckon. Tai Tai, maybe Jai over 15. He gets them legs pretty pumping.
Yeah.
Jai, obviously Fletcher Myers showed a clean pair.
Jai
Just ask him. He'll tell you, Jai.
Well, he was telling a story about can't wait to go to Ireland, and he's never had a Guinness just because he wants to have a Guinness over there in Ireland. So I reckon running into the bar at the one of the Irish bars over there in Cork or something like that, he might break that record.
Well, is that his footy trip away, Ireland?
Yeah, he's going to go over to Europe. He's going over to Canada as well, he said. So his missus is from over that way. His new girlfriend. He's off the market, by the way, ladies. So stop liking and messaging him. It's not going to get you anywhere. So there you go, Jack White, and he's off the market, the big fella. And
Jai.
Yep. Jai Arrow's off the market as well, mate.
He's flustered himself, mate. He's flustered himself.
Oh, man, I'm back on the roster, boys, so yeah, I was pretty tired. But getting to the pathways here, boys, brought to you by the Juniors group of clubs. Juniors Kingsford, Juniors Maribor, Juniors Malabar. All those junior teams are coming to an end now. I think we're down in the A grade, only down to a couple of teams. The Coogee Dolphins. Coogee Wombats are into the grand final. It's going to be Dolphins versus Alexandria Rovers. Getting to the pointy end, we're going to live stream that one. Me and Brown will be calling that one on the 8th of September. So we'll give you a bit more details of that one coming up. But
yeah, we're just waiting for the go-ahead from the juniors, and we should have that in the next couple of days. But yeah, like you said, chaps, congratulations to the Coogee Wombats. They've made it through to the grand final. First time in a couple of years. They didn't even have a team last year, did they? They've done extremely well. To Tunksy and his boys down there. Jace Clark is involved. He played on the weekend. And to the Redfern All Blacks in the A reserves, which we will be live streaming as well. Congratulations to them. They've made it through to the grand final as well. So there's a couple of games to be played. The Rovers play Mascot in the A reserves, and Rovers play the Dolphins in the A grade. So a couple of big games coming up this weekend.
My brother's playing Narrowena this week in a semi to get into the grand final too, so shout out to him as well. Obviously, those
Wombats.
boys have been fighting hard. Yeah, Wombats. So good luck to him, and obviously, it's going to be a tough game there at Marsland Fields. Keen for it.
Oh, look, they're minor premiers, the Rovers, and they rested some of the good players for a couple of weeks, and might have come back to bite them, but I think they'll be much better for the run this week, and I expect them to go on and meet Coogee in the grand final. That's going to be a ripper of a Coogee Wombats versus Rovers grand final. But look, don't count your chickens. I'm sure the Dolphins will have a say in that one. Looking at the New South Wales Cup there, boys. They were beaten on the weekend there, 36 points to 22. I was watching that one up there in Club 1908 with a couple of the boys, Gus Gallen, Dwayno, and all the 1908 members. And yeah, we got off to a pretty ordinary start. Look, we had no energy. It wasn't looking good at all. It was, as I said, it was 32-0. I think Armstrong carved us up a few times, the fullback there. Jenkins as well had a big game. Hastings in the halves for them, and then we just flicked the switch and we scored a couple of tries late to get it back to 22 points. But yeah, Ryan Gray was a standout, and Liver, like I said, just go and look at their lineup. Dean Hawkins drops back into that team. He'll be massive for that team. He's outstanding in his lower grades. Him and Dion.
That's their last round this week, isn't it, chaps? For both the New South Wales Cup and the Jersey Flag, they finish a week early.
Yeah, defending premiers. They probably had a disappointing season. Joey O'Callaghan's last game. So well done to you, Joey. And we're looking to got to message him and see if I can get him on for an interview on his own there about his time at the mighty South Sydney Rabbitohs. Yeah, Billy Secrekus was pretty strong, and Michael Cheekham makes his return in that side as well. So good to see some of those names back, boys.
Yeah, it certainly is, chaps. And like you said, it is the last game. It probably means nothing to them, but they want to go out winners, and I'm sure they'll be doing their best to get a win against the Penrith Panthers this week. And it's been a disappointing year for the club as a whole, hasn't it? Not only the first grade, but when you got so many injuries, it filters all the way down to your Jersey Flag team, which we've all struggled this year. And yeah, disappointing, but heads up, boys. Like I said, you still got one game to go, and hopefully they can both get a win this weekend.
We were talking about some of the young guys that have just signed on as well. They'll probably be in that New South Wales Cup team. Some great guys like Jerome Burns, Lachlan Hubner from the Dolphins. That's definitely skies up from here. Speaking about some of the young blokes, guys, Isaiah Youngie there at fullback for Penrith. He's just signed with Parramatta too. It looks like he's their succession plan for Gutho, who's probably going to move into the centres next year too. It'll be an exciting game just to get a taste of where he's at as well. Obviously, we'll be watching the South game, so might have a flick over to the New South Wales Cup and just get a taste of what we could be seeing next year. But it'll definitely be some exciting matchups in that one too, and can't wait to see if our boys can finish off the year strong.
Well, there's rumours Gutho could be walking out of Para too. There's been 3 or 4 offers from a few clubs, so watch that space on King Gutho, I suppose. Now, Jersey Flag, they're also finishing up their season. They led 14-6, I think, over the Knights and ended up getting rolled in the last couple of minutes. But outstanding performances there from Toby Sullivan, scored 2 tries. A guy who I think they're asking to come back maybe next year in the Cup. I think he's too old for Flag next year, but young, promising forward who not got big raps on him. He seems his second spell's always better than his first. So well done, young Toby. And as I said, good little feel-good story there. Mitchell Reeves comes from a local family, the massive South fans. Mum, Belinda, who's worked for the New South Wales Rugby League as a sideline official, been she got New South Wales Volunteer of the Year at one stage for the South Eastern Seagulls. Dad David is a trainer for the A-grade South Eastern team, runs the water. They bleed red and green. He finally got to go in the Jersey Flag after 2 years of back-to-back ACLs. So he got Players Player the other day in the dressing rooms. It was pretty emotional for him and the family, as you can imagine. So well done to you, Mitch, mate. I've known Mitch since he was a little baby, and I'm so proud of you, mate. And look, I know how hard you've worked and how much you love the game, and just keep digging in, mate. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's persistence, isn't it, chaps? When you get a couple of back-to-back injuries, you just keep going and you love of the game. And, well done to you, Mitch, and the family. I'm sure they would have been proud. And, another big season next year. And, who knows?
Yeah, not an
sky's the
easy
limit.
injury to come back from it too, ACL. It's hectic. And when you get 2 in a row, I mean, we've seen what's happened to Adam Dewey. He's missed 3 years of footy. Mitch, 100%. Congratulations to you, mate. And, good to see that you had a good one on the weekend.
He's been named again in this week's team. So
good.
I'm well done to him. And the week before, he scored the winning try in the semi-final with 2 minutes to go for South Eastern. And last week, he backed up 24 hours later to play semi-final. They were beaten. But anyway, that's the way rugby league goes. They had their awards night the other day. Excuse me. I've got a bit of a dry throat there. The player of the year was Louis Grosmy, who he's been very impressive the whole season. Outstanding, Louis, middle forward. I'm sure he'll be coming back next year to play in the Cup team. And Carson Ko was player's player and best back. And Toby Sullivan, that man again, best forward. So well done to Tippy and his boys this year, and hopefully he can finish it off on a winning note.
Yeah, congratulations to all the award winners, like you said, chaps. They've struggled throughout the year, but not due to form, due to injury, like the whole club has. And well done to them players who won the award.
100% sentiments with Brownie. I agree. Congratulations.
And Harvey Normans is the last one we're going to speak about there. They've had a massive win down the Redfern Oval. Robbie Trelaw, big South fan, big fan of the podcast, flew down from the Gold Coast. He went and watched that game. He watched the Flegg game. Went and had a couple of beers, and he come out and watched reserve grade, first grade, and then 25 minutes after kickoff, we all were allowed on the field, and I bumped into Robbie on the field. So well done, Robbie. Great to see you, mate. Robbie Trelaw. And look, South fans, they come from everywhere. They're from Port Macquarie, they're from Newcastle, from way out west. And
Beck Eakin was down.
Beck Eakin comes down every week.
Yeah, you got Coffs Harbour. They come from all around the globe.
They're mad.
The country. We've got plenty of fans out there in the country, and they'll keep doing it till the day we die.
Yep, and Maddie's starting to turn the clock back, couple of tries. She's just finally starting to get a groove on after coming back from an injury. 18-point haul. And Chanel Lyons, outstanding double. So well done, girls. Their season's not over. It's not like the boys. That keeps rolling on for a few more weeks.
Yeah, I was with Maddie's mum and dad down the waterworks watching the footy on the weekend. And, they said she had a big game. I didn't get to see that game, but, yeah, they were very proud of her. And keep up the great work, Maddie.
100%. And obviously, we're getting a few new NRLW teams soon. Hopefully, South Sydney is not too far down the track.
Fingers crossed. That's the plan.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it, boys. You got anything else?
Big thank you to our sponsor, Darryl Lee. We've got a number of sponsors. Blast Pit, out there at Site Pizza.
Adam Sampson Finance.
Adam Sampson Finance, and the juniors group of clubs. There, the juniors, Maroubra, Malabar,
Kingsford.
and Kingsford.
Why not? Yeah, we had a big gig there last Friday for the Mark Hughes Foundation. And, geez, they put on a good show there.
Yeah, they're great.
Outstanding.
Anyway,
just a quick one as well from me. I know we've been a little bit slack with the Guess the Player competition. We'll get the winner of the last one out very shortly, and we'll get the next one out very shortly as well. We've been a little bit slack. We've all been working hard and hardly working over here, but we'll get it out to you ASAP.
Well, there's only 2 of them been working. I've been on holidays.
And, a little bit of sad news. A friend of mine I went to school with, big South fan. He's a teacher at Maroubra Bay Public School. He sadly passed away from a heart attack today, so rest in peace, and condolences to your family, Ben Lucas. Taught all my 3 kids, mate. They just loved him.
Yeah, condolences to the Lucas family. Our thoughts are with you through these difficult times.
100%.
And that might be it for another edition of Rabbitohs Radio Podcast. Up the mighty Rabbitohs.
Up the Rabbitohs.
Up the Bunnies.
Chargers hit on.